How's it going, y'all? We have officially made it through the 7-7, almost through the 7-7 portal at the time that I'm recording this, which is the Sirius Gateway portal. If you don't know what that is, on July 7th, every single year, the sun in Cancer aligns with Sirius, which is like considered the second sun. It was in ancient times. It's 2 times larger than the sun. And there's a lot of energy and a lot of frequency that comes off of Sirius because it's even bigger than the sun, okay? And when it aligns with our sun, then all that energy is pushed through, is channeling right at the sun, and then the sun, which is then channeling that energy to Earth. And when I first had my major awakening to astrology and all this stuff in 2021 after I moved here, I remember that 7-7 gateway because all that stuff was very new to me. And I was very heightened and had my first psychic thoughts or realizations or insights over those days. We have been feeling this energy from the Sirius Gateway for probably the last 4 days, and we'll feel it for a couple more days. You could be having a lot of heightened psychic abilities or insights, a ton of energy. There can be just like this aha, sudden insight moments to help you navigate what you're going to do with the rest of your life, okay? Depending. But now, every year, I feel this energy so intensely, so I know so many other people are, and they just don't realize, every year on 7-7, you may be experiencing that because of this. Well, not only did we have that, which is beautiful, which is a great thing because it brings us divine codes and divine messages. But we also had Uranus switch signs. Okay, so I want to show you this real quick. Hang on. Sorry, I have to burp. I'm just going to quickly go through for everyone based on your rising sign. This Uranus switching signs into Gemini. I'm just going to tell you just a little bit about the themes that you will be experiencing with this ingress into Gemini, because Uranus takes 7 or 8 years to go through a sign. It has been in the sign of Taurus for since 2018, okay? And now it's going to be in the sign of Gemini till 2033. It's going to have one more retrograde where it will dip back into Taurus for a second, but then to complete whatever it needed, whatever didn't get finished while Uranus was transiting the sign of Taurus for the last 8 years, it is now going to wrap it up, okay? Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus is shocking. You cannot guess what Uranus is going to bring. And honestly, after, studying and practicing astrology for 4 years, I don't like that I don't have an answer exactly for what it can bring. I've been thinking, how's this going to be in my 8th house? How's it going to be in my 8th house? Because usually I know because we look at patterns. Well, I have no idea, and Uranus in itself is something you just can't guess. It's like the tower. It's shocking, and it can be amazing, or it can also be extremely erratic and destructive. It depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on if it's hitting something in your chart. It depends on the house that it's in. It depends on a lot of things. However, we should all anticipate it can be like a roller coaster of up and down throughout the next 8 years in the sign of Gemini. And you knowing what house that is for you will tell you more about the themes or the topics that will be touched, okay? So just real quickly, I'm going to go through all the signs. I'll start with Aries, just to give you a quick tidbit. And then I'm going to come back tomorrow. I have 2 big transits that I want to talk about on a deeper level that might help bring people peace if they had a difficult year this year, starting from January through May. There's something now that is going to be coming to wrap up whatever may have been, whatever fucking chaos was going on at that time, okay? Or whatever was dug up from beneath the surface that maybe you weren't prepared for. But we'll talk about that tomorrow, okay? So I hope to get this out tonight for people, but So we're going to start with Aries for my Aries people, okay? So this is Aries in the first house here, okay? So this for you is in your third house. Your third house is like communication, communication, writing, your day-to-day trips, local trips in your neighborhood. It could also have to do with where you like frequently go, like your gym or where you stay, like your neighborhood. Say you were moving homes within your neighborhood. But in general, this is all about the ways that we communicate, okay? And, you know, especially if you are someone who's a writer and Uranus in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, I mean, it's written in the stars. So if you're someone who wants to write a book, or you have a whole, or you're wanting to get into journaling, or you're trying to go down that path, this absolutely could be that time for you, okay? So yeah, let me know how that resonates. So for my Taurus rising people, this is going to be in your second house of personal finances, self-worth. I feel like there could be a huge change, not only in your personal finances, your stability, the things that you own, the money that you actually make, but also your self-worth is a big part of this. So if you're someone who has struggled in any way, you're probably, because Uranus is the break free energy. Uranus is the great awakener, but it is literally the liberation. And that's why we just had this Uranus Venus conjunction where a lot of people probably did split up that have been together, because it's this or had a period where they just like couldn't even be around their partner, because it's this need to break free, to not be limited by anything. And also Uranus can bring you these amazing, insightful, incredible ideas. There's going to be so much innovation when it comes to anything that has to do with technology. It's going to be insane, especially in the sign of Gemini, okay, which is all of our electronics and the ways that we communicate, you know, so it's all linked. All these advancements are just going to go, it's going to accelerate so quickly. So, but I feel like for my Taurus rising people, there's actually going to be a huge change in your actual abundance or your security in some way. And maybe you'll get very creative in how you get there. But I really intuitively am feeling something about your self-worth is just going to finally, there's going to be this breakthrough energy and of something that's just been deep in the surface, maybe even from your childhood, or even it's in your ancestry, you know, it's not even yours that you're carrying. There's some type of breakthrough. But it definitely, all of this is going to involve expressing yourself freely, because that's Gemini. And if that's through writing, communicating, using your hands to make something, I mean, anything where you're just expressing yourself is going to be also very important. All right, so moving on. I've got my Gemini risings. Okay, so this is all about you. So this Uranus just moved into your first house of self. This has to do with your physical health, your appearance, your identity, how you identify. A lot of people may be having complete changes. Like they may genuinely feel like a completely different person due to this. Okay, and then they're going to go through an 8-year cycle of stepping into who is this new person that they are. And in the end, you know, you can always start over. It doesn't matter what people think in general, especially if you're someone who has a past that you're not proud of. Everyone has the ability to change if you put the work, the effort in. If you want it bad enough, you can be whoever you want to be. So this is your chance if you are a Gemini rising who has felt this desire to kind of, you know, bury the old version of you because you don't resonate with it at all anymore. That could absolutely be happening. You can also really be going through some type of awakening in the body, like a Kundalini awakening, becoming more sensitive energetically, or becoming more psychic with people. Okay, this is for sure going to happen to a lot of Gemini risings, especially depending on where your ascendant is. If you're in the early degrees, if you're Gemini rising in these early degrees right here, you're already feeling it, you know. But if you're a late degree, it's going to be years probably before you get lit up. I just went through a Kundalini awakening because Uranus is opposite my ascendant, my physical body. And man, let me tell you, it's not for the faint of heart. It took me like 2 years, but so I'm sure it passing exactly on your ascendant is going to give you the same type of experience I had. You can become very sensitive to anything around you, any electromagnetic energy in general, which I used to think was bullshit. Well, it's not. Let me tell you, it's not. But then also other people. You'll probably realize you're more empathetic. You can feel other people's feelings. Oh, yeah, look. R.I.P. to my friend Brooksy. His death anniversary is tomorrow. So I brought him with me tonight for this. Okay, anyways, so Cancer, for my Cancer risings. Ooh, this is in your 12th house. Okay. All right. Okay, so your 12th house is, this feels like you're going to have a break. Again, like I had just said for one of the other signs, this is a great potential to break through anything that has been underneath the surface, holding you back, trauma from your ancestry, from your actual family, from your subconscious fears, things that you've taken from, you've gained from your parents that's not really your shit. There's the potential to break through mental issues. However, this could also be activating mental issues. Mental issues, it also, the 12th house also rules isolating places. Well, self-sabotage as well, by the way, so just be mindful of that. But places that are isolated, like hospitals, prisons, or far away, where you go and isolate in the woods, like you're gonna feel the need to go live in your cabin in the woods now. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of healing that can happen here. This is it's going into my 8th house, so it's very similar to this. Like, it could be great or it could be very difficult. It just really depends. And that's how I'm like, okay, waiting to find out. If you have a lot of 12th house placements, that could be difficult, because you can't see those planets in your 12th house. You can't connect to them. So then they're going to get lit up with electricity, which is the Uranus, but it's the Great Awakener. So you'll awaken to it. Then you can start to resonate and connect with them, and then they can become your power. And that's how astrology has always said. Your 8th and your 12th, they're hell. Those placements are hell to have grown up, but they become your greatest strength with time and maturity. And so if you have 12th house placements, once you start to connect with them and understand them, they can become your greatest strength. But you're blinded to them sometimes. It's also hidden enemies, so some people might come out the woodworks. However, this could be very liberating for a spiritual awakening, psychic abilities, you going off and doing your own, living in the woods and just living this like spiritual holistic life. There's just a lot of different there's a lot of different ways that this could manifest. So I'd love to hear later how it does. All right, now my Leo rising people. Okay, this is in your 11th house. Okay, so this is social circles, your community. This is absolutely going to be some type of change, probably in the people that you resonate with, like your soul tribe, the people that are your community wherever you live. It's also benefactors. I feel like this is a very positive house, and there can be a lot of fun there as well. But I feel like there's going to be a big change in your social networking. Like, you're going to have a big change. Maybe you've truly leveled up and now you can leave behind because you have raised your vibration, even though you love all your old people, but like it's time and you're separating, and now you're going to find people that are on now your new vibration so y'all can continue to ascend together. Okay? I love this for you. All right, we've got now my Virgo risings. Virgo sun here. I love Virgo. Okay, so, yeah, that's right. This for you is going on in your 10th house, baby. Absolutely. Okay, so this is gonna be, who knows how it can manifest, and this could be very fun in many different ways. But your 10th house is public recognition and how you show up in the world, how you choose to show up in the world. You know what? Even if you were someone who's shy, you might even all of a sudden have this different feeling and like want to be seen, okay? But you might come up with some very eccentric ideas that get you well known. You may be able to speak out about something that is unique. I don't know why aliens just came to me, but you may become popular or known for something eccentric that this awakening that Uranus has brought into your life, and you're stepping into your power to speak about it or to write about it or to create about it. No matter what, though, there's probably going to be a change in your work, or like what you thought you'd be doing. I feel like there's going to be a divot, but it's definitely going to be for the better, because this is Uranus bringing you there. But it feel like for a lot of you, there's going to be an unexpected change, which I understand, Virgo. We like to be in control, but this is going to be like, oh shit, yeah? Oh, I didn't ever guess this. Fuck yeah. It's like that kind of energy, okay? All right, so now we've got our Libra risings. Okay, so this is going to be in your ninth house, which is amazing. Ninth house is hopes, dreams, wishes. This is all about expansion of your mind, expansion of your consciousness. This is about traveling abroad. You may be moving abroad, to go live abroad. You may be just planned a trip to go abroad, but to expand your consciousness, to see other cultures. It can also be going back to school. Anything about learning something, progressing and learning something higher. Doesn't necessarily mean going back to like get a PhD, but going back for more learning. It's like when I went back for astrology. Also, this rules the occult in the astrology. Like, so you might be someone who is now getting very interested in astrology, and you decide to do that. It'd be perfect. This is really nice, though, and there's a lot, the spiritual awakening, though. It's like, so it can really change and alter your life, but you may go through just an awakening in your consciousness and seeing things that you hadn't seen before that actually do change you and then change the trajectory of your life, which is obviously great in the end for the best. Yeah, and this also has to do with writing and publishing. So if you're someone who's ever wanted to write a book or something like that, that's also tied in there. And it, you could end up channeling this and channeling a book all of a sudden and channeling it, and then it just blows up too. That's Uranus energy, because you just can't expect. It's like hitting the lottery. It's like going to the casinos, and sometimes you lose it all, and then sometimes you hit the lottery. That's how Uranus is, okay? I love my Scorpios, because I'm Scorpio Rising. Okay, so I have personally been getting a little excited and nervous about really how is this going to go for us, because the 8th house, obviously, if you're a Scorpio, you probably already know a lot about the 8th house. But the 8th house is death, sex, taxes, and money, other people's money. It's also fear. It's also traumas. And Gemini, as you know, is also, it's already diabolical and in the 8th house. So it can be very difficult on our nervous system when things transit the 8th house. It can be very hard for us mentally, because the mind is going of the fears. It depends on where you are. But this Uranus moving in could be huge when it comes to psychic abilities, being able to channel, connecting with astrology and the occult, and also having huge gains from other people's money. It could also be, though, losing money, so you got to be careful. But investing properly and doing these types of things could be very fruitful. But you also have to be mindful that it can also go the other way. So just always keep that in mind. This is also inheritances. So there could be something where you get some unexpected huge inheritance, It also is the house of death, though. So, we may have family members or something that pass away. I mean, it's 8 years, though, so I'm sure we're destined to have one, or at least over that time. I'm not saying like a parent or anything. I'm just saying in general. Be careful with your taxes, though. Be careful with all those types of legal things. Because it's not necessarily in our favor in that way, okay? But I do think there is going to be a huge potential to gain psychic ability in terms of just like being able to connect with other people's thoughts easier and follow our intuition more to the things that are going to lead us to this winning the lotto with Uranus in our 8th house, okay? But I'm sure a lot of us Scorpios are going further into the occult, which makes sense. I love you. All right, so Sag. This is going to be in your 7th house. That's what I just went through. Okay, so this is a huge shakeup in your marriage partner, your business partnerships, your clients, your audience, if you're someone who is on social media as well. It can be difficult. Yeah, but also amazing because you can meet the love of your life and your lifelong partner that you're going to be with forever, so it can manifest in a lot of different ways, but you could find your marriage partner, get married. You could then also blow up on your social media or whatever business it is that you have, and your clients love you and you're gaining more clients and more attention. You get into a business partnership. But also it could be the opposite, it could be the closure of some of these things. And, like, for example, I got out of a 9-year relationship during that time and then got into another relationship, so much can change. And that I took 2 years in between. So it's, a lot can change during that time. But what was difficult for me that just happened was when Uranus did go opposite my ascendant, and I have a 25 degrees ascendant. So here's Uranus here. Hang on. Here. My ascendant's at 25. So once it got across from it, which would be like 6 years from now. If you have a 25 degrees like mine, that's going to be 5 or 6 years before it even is close. But the entire time that Uranus was on my descendant, opposite my ascendant, about a year and a half, I just went through an insane Kundalini awakening that kept me in my house. I was so sensitive to anything. And I live in New Orleans, and I live in a busy street, but I couldn't do anything. Any car, everything was so stimulating to my body. So, just be warned. That is something that I know can happen because it did happen to me. And now that Uranus has just moved on, I'm finally getting my life back again after 2 years from being just so sensitive. But I do think it has brought me to my highest path. All the things that change in the 7th house, whether it be good or bad, are absolutely in your highest good, and you can absolutely meet the love of your life and a fated partner. It's very common. Okay, so love y'all. Moving on to my camp babies. So Capricorn, this is in your 6th house. Okay, day-to-day routines, health, you need to keep that in mind. Health. You could end up having some erratic issues with health. You should be very careful and take this time to be serious about your health. And if you have any bad habits, try to quit them now with this energy while you can, because that's just not even a question, But this is amazing because this could bring you some sudden change in your day-to-day routine, your service to others, what you do for work. Like, it could just be some sudden new out of the blue job that's like absolutely perfect, pays way more, it's way more fulfilling, these types of things. A lot of different things can change when it comes to the 6th house. Maybe you're gonna be like me, but where you're learning how to properly do your day-to-day routines, like healing from a childhood where you didn't quite learn that properly. There can be lots of different changes, especially if you are someone who has children, there can be just changes that are going on for the next 8 years. I mean, some people may retire and start a new job. That's very specific. I don't know that. I feel like that was specifically for someone. But there are going to be changes in service to others and your day-to-day routines, okay? All right. Now, my Aquarius Rising people. All right. Let's see. So this is going to be in your 5th house. Okay, so Aquarius Rising. If you do not want children, just be warned that Uranus is moving through your 5th house for the next 8 years. Use protection or get whatever. If you want children, this could be great. It could be very hit or miss. It could be very up and down, but it could be you didn't even expect it. You had no idea. You weren't even trying, and you got pregnant. That's giving that energy, okay? This is also play, romance, pleasure, and creativity. So this is amazing because you can channel literally like all the most like Mozart, all the most famous painters and artists from a long ass time ago that have admitted, they channeled their work, and other artists and people know that that's how it is. When you get into this flow state, it's like given to you by spirit, and it's hard to get to that flow state, but that is what can be happening here that could become very fruitful for you. You can also, like I said, have children, start a family or whatever, but this could also be about really enjoying pleasure and play. And because so the fifth house is actually romance and love. The seventh house is marriage. The fifth house is actually love, pleasure, play, and romance. So this could just be it could be if you're a single person or something, or you become single, you might have a lot of different hot flings throughout that 8 years, that kind of thing, okay? But like I said, again, for people who do want families, that's definitely something that could be going on, Aquarius Rising people, but be careful if not. I think that's all I have. Thank you. All right, now my Pisces, the last one. My Pisces people. All right. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So this is going on in your fourth house of home, family, lineage, roots, ancestry, where you are tucked away alone. Okay. You could be moving a lot over this time, or you could be, there can just be unexpected changes when it comes to your stability or maybe your ancestry. Like maybe you find out, it's funny because it's in Gemini, maybe you find out you have a twin you didn't know about, or like it's very specific, but that definitely can happen. You could find out some crazy things about your ancestry that you had no idea about, something with your sibling. But there's definitely an energy here that where you live and your foundations are definitely getting a big shakeup right now, okay? And there must be a reason why. If that is what's happening, it's because, we are creatures of comfort and we attach to things, and codependency is one of our biggest issues. And I've had my house taken away from me by a house fire. This is different. It was a Mars transit, but I've had to learn again and again and again in my life about not attaching to things, because we're not in control here, and the more that you attach, the worse the lesson is, okay? So but some of you could be getting out of whatever shitty living situation and finding the dream home, or maybe you inherit an amazing property from your family, or there's just so many different ways that it could go. And hopefully for some people there will be this is specific too, I'm feeling, but a healing to, if you have some very troubled or no relationship at all with someone in your family, someone who, meant something to you, or should, they say should, or whatever. I feel like there's could be some type of deep inner healing, for some people throughout this entire transit, which, yeah, very specific, but I feel that very strongly. Like there's going to be a healing of, honestly, probably being the person to step up to heal the family karma, to stop the shit and be the one that's like, nah, we're not going to carry this shit on. Things like that as well. And it can be an awakening about your family and your foundations, okay? But it can also be really beautiful things as well. It just really depends on your chart, and also just really depends on Uranus. We don't ever know. But a lot of people will probably be awakening, and that's good, because we're all needing to raise the vibration of the planet. We're all connected, guys. We're all fucking connected. But just understanding what I just told you, that's why I do this. Just to know, so some crazy shit happens in your life, like that you weren't ready for, now you heard, okay? Just if it doesn't, great. But now you know what may come into your life in some aspect over the next 7 to 8 years. And that, again, is why I do this. I want to help people to know. Because, why would I not give you a candle light in the dark. Why would I not? This shit should have never been taken away from us. This is a science. I have a science background, chemistry degree. I was going to med school. Y'all, I've been studying this shit for 4 years. It ain't easy, okay? And it's real. So, Godspeed, just Godspeed. Keep it together. Go with the flow. Anything that needs to go, anything that's trying to go, I know it's hard, but don't fucking hold on because you're going to pay. I'm telling you. And it hurts. So let go, release, surrender, and go with the flow because Uranus is going to make us all do that, whether we want to or not. And the weather is about to get, and then don't even get me started globally. Okay, so I'm just talking about your personal lives. I love you all. I hope this helps. And I can't wait to use this setup again. I'm going to do 2 videos tomorrow, by the way, though. I really want to talk to you about the Neptune retrograde and that the sun is about to be at 17 degrees of Cancer, which is tied to that Mars retrograde that we had. That was a part of my eye injury. A lot of people, if you were having a hard time in the beginning of the year, January to March or May, I can't remember which one, now the sun is illuminating something that was going on at that time to heal it, okay? We're ready because it wasn't good then, but now we're ready, all right? But I'm going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow, okay? I love you all. Please let me know your rising sign and let me know how this ends up turning out for you and how you're feeling. And let me know, honestly, how was it the last 8 years for you when Uranus was in whatever house it was? I just told you about mine in the 7th house, okay? I'd love to know people with it in the 8th. Okay? I love y'all. Bye.